season's probably 13, so that may be how we get our fix for Boondock for a while. But if not, got some other ideas percolating. Turn off your cell phones. Oh my God! It's like the ultimate no-no.
You wasn't here when I made that out.
Yeah. Rocco is the proud owner of a new iPhone, which we're going to pass around. He's had this stupid Fender phone forever. He was so proud when he got it. And now he has graduated to the Cadillac of cell phones, people. Somebody alert the media. Yes, sir.
I had a question. Since Rocco and All Saints Day was sort of the brothers' conscience to help them keep moving on, are we going to see more of them in the next installment of the book or in the second movie?
Yeah, probably both. I mean, that was one of it was really strange. I mean, there was two things about that first movie we knew we had to hit in a sequel direct from the fan base. First one was Il Duce. We want to know all about Dad, everything that he did, who he was. So we knew we had to put that in there. And then bring Rocco back, to which I said, he's dead. You can't do that. And they were like, fuck you, figure it out. So we had to bring him back. And now that we've established that, we're probably going to do it. If there's a Perspective 3 as a film, yeah. He'll be coming back, and maybe anybody else that died, you know? What the hell, Rainley bought it in the second one, might as well bring his ass back too. Anybody else?
What inspired you to make the movies, make Boondock Saints?
Crime and being the victim of it, you know? Like I do this experiment sometimes. Let's try it here today. This is going to be awesome. Raise your hand if you have ever been the victim of a crime. Alright, like less than half. Keep them up. Put your hand down if your crime was solved. 2. That's good. See, the problem is, your crime was solved?
No.
Alright, well, that's the problem. You know, when I first moved out here, my brother and I were living in terrible conditions, and you know, there was I actually came home from work one night and found a guy robbing my place. And it actually was a kind of a serious situation. I love making fun of it, but it was kind of scary to think about. You know, didn't work out well for him at the end of the day, but it scared the shit out of me. You know, that somebody's just in your place or in your car when you're not around, you know, where your stuff is, where my brother lives with me. It just, it's one of those things, you know. So, poverty, frustration, crime, I just decided to, you know, instead of, you know, doing something real about it, picking up a pen and writing out my sort of fantasy about what I'd love to do about that kind of thing. You know, if it was a perfect world, which of course it's not. And evidently when we told this story on film, a lot of other people felt the same way. I mean, that very simple idea of, you know, in your own community, standing up and doing something. I mean, how many times do we see homeless people on the streets? Maybe people mistreating their kids in public. We know battered women. Very few of us actually do something about it, but it affects us. Even if it just annoys us or pisses us off or frustrates us, we all feel that on a daily basis. And most of us don't do anything about it because there's too much risk involved. I actually once helped a woman who was getting beat up by her man, and she jumped on my back and started swinging away, you know? So you never know what you're going to get today. Nonetheless, we all have these feelings. We all feel this way. My grandmother, I remember when I was a kid, my grandma, we were watching the news, it was around Thanksgiving, and there was some terrible story on the news about some woman that raped, assaulted, whatever, and my grandma goes, whoever did that should be taken to an island and shot. And I was like, why would they have to go to an island? Why would they shoot? But for some reason, she liked taking people to islands. But I remember thinking, wow, you know, she's like this matronly, old, awesome lady that I love, and she makes me the best cherry pie ever. Her mashed potatoes were like the stuff of legend. and here she is saying that somebody should get shot in the head and killed for what they did. So I think even at that young age, I had a sense, you know, that everybody has these same frustrations. It's not just me. When your kindly old grandma has the same motivations that you do and the same thoughts that you do in terms of crime, then everybody does. So that was one of the reasons I think that Boondock, you know, even though it didn't get all this like theatrical release, or it was discovered by you guys, and I'll bet you each one of you got that same story, right? A friend showed me this movie. I heard about this from a buddy. Because very few of you, you know, saw the huge posters and you know, trailers on TV. There weren't any of those. Boondock was a ground level thing. If you found it, you were kind of lucky, you know. And then you became the dude who showed it to your next friend and your next friend and your next friend. So I mean, to me, that's the best kind of grassroots PR there is. Because I mean, I might not go see a movie if it gets a good or bad review, but if my friend comes up and says, "Dude, you got to check this," Bridesmaids, for instance.
Wow.
A friend of mine said, "You have to watch it." I'm like, "Isn't that for chicks?" And he's, no, just trust me, it's not about chicks. I watched it, laughed my ass off. One of the funniest movies I've seen in years. So now Rocco has a prepared speech. Go for it.
Okay, I'm going to ask you guys questions now. How did they discover the movie or get turned on to it, or what made you watch it? As Troy said, I know it wasn't the billboards and the posters and the news saying how it was #1 in the theaters. Anybody?
My daughter, you have to watch it.
Yeah, how did you see it?
Through my cousin.
Yeah?
Told me about it. It was actually like a sleepover. So like I was just like, it real fell asleep, and I'm like, best movie ever.
Your daughter made you watch it?
Yeah.
And did you enjoy it or not?
No, I did.
That's awesome, because you are the demographic of this film. As I look at you, I say that is a Boondock fan.
The special that you just had on, what channel was it? That you were showing not the special, but the making of the movie or something?
Okay.
Yeah, we were watching that.
Let me ask you some questions. That's a good idea, Roxy. He comes up with one every now and
It
then.
takes the pressure off me. So then I don't have to think at all.
All right, you in the gray shirt, glasses right there. How did you come to see Boondock Saints?
A stepdaughter called from Canada stating there's a movie she wanted me to find and buy for her. So I bought it for her. I thought I'd watch it. Watched it and told her, well, I guess I'm going to have to buy another copy.
The old porker of the copy. I remember. Are you from Canada?
No.
Okay. Well, then you can stay. I've actually heard that. There's a funny story I got about that. Blockbuster, our first real release with Boondock was Blockbuster. They gave us what's called some kind of release. They released it like it was a big film rather than a small one, because they really loved it and they thought it was kind of bad that, you know, due to political situation, Boondock didn't get released. Columbine happened at the same time, so we were blacklisted from U.S. screens. So all these Blockbuster employees started stealing the video from the stores, their own stores, and there was even one guy that came up and said, "I told them I wasn't going to give it back, and they could fire my ass." And now JB has a soliloquy that he would like to read aloud to everybody.
A soliloquy?
A soliloquy, sir.
How do I love Troy? Count the ways.
Oh, wow.
He gave me beer when I went to his house to write the comic.
And cigarettes.
And cigarettes, which you didn't smoke any, because you don't smoke.
Of course not.
That's right. And,
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Everybody. All right, does anybody have any more questions for us?
If you guys go on with either the TV show or the movie, are you guys are you your band or Taylor's band going to put more music together again? Are you going to use Sturgis and Ty Stone again? Keep going with some of the guys, guys come up and write some more music for it? Or either show or TV series?
Yeah, we may do
Get
that.
a little number of a while to go with that.
We may do
Because I
that.
had folks that were after.
Thank you.
I still got, I've been playing a lot of speakers.
Yeah, I mean, the music, we've always kind of looked at it like you don't need, Zeppelin on you can get ground level, stuff from guys. I mean, the Dirges were just guys we hung out with, but we just thought had an awesome band, and we stuck them in there, and they ended up doing a great job, so that it's possible to find it. Ty Stone, another guy, if anybody gets the chance to see him in concert, do it. The kid is amazing, he's a great singer. My brother Taylor, who isn't performing or anything like that. He runs his own businesses, but he's always writing and stuff like that. But yeah, the music is one of those things. I mean, you can add it to film, and it's like it becomes another thing that gives you an emotional closeness to the audience, not just visual and how you're going to do that, or the creative of the story and what the actors are saying. It's like when you add music to something, suddenly you get that extra layer on the onion, So I think with the three, what we'd probably do is that same thing, plus maybe one or two larger acts that we love, Because at this point, we're actually starting to know a few rock stars in our lives, and I'm like, hey, you want to do some boondock music? Why didn't you call me on too, dude? So we may do that, we may do a little mixture there when it starts getting to that level, because the three is going to have to be a larger, I'm going to need a larger budget and a lot of time and some bigger stunts and all that stuff, so we might as well bring in a couple of rock stars.
I meant Slash. I don't hang with him.
Last time we got to hang out with Fran over his birthday party out here.
Yeah.
And talking to him and Paul Pete. He was getting some music.
Yeah, Tall Pete is also known as Drunk Pete.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
If you do music, will there be more Sean Pete?
You like that? It's funny to me too. He actually is a very serious musician. We just happened to pay. He did this whole album that was gag tunes, and Balls Deep in Your Love was one of them. And I thought it was just so funny to play in that scene, so we got it, and all these Boondock fans think that he's like, a weird Al Yankovic. And the guy's like, this sucks! But he's got some great shit. Anybody look him up. Sean C. is the man when it comes to music. Very talented kid. But yeah.
For Rocco, I'm sort of having a shitty day. You tell me a joke. Did they say
Or go on the internet and joke of the day or something. Do you ever notice you don't remember most of your jokes? I can tell you quick. I really think people here underage. You know what I mean?
Oh, man.
I don't want
Never fails. Put it in because it was true, man. I think I missed somebody, but yes.
Hey, man.
Hey, man, what's up?
Can you tell me a little bit more about the tattoos that the brother wore? Were there any interesting stories of how you came up with those?
Sure. You're the motorcycle guy, right?
Yeah, I'm that guy.
Yeah.
How you
This guy, we had this, we did a Boondock themed motorcycle, and we unveiled it at this place on Melrose, and he's like, you gotta
Shoot,
check
I
out
forgot
my
about
bike. Go
that.
around the corner, he's got one of those bikes with a sidecar on it, and it was awesome. Some Ukrainian made bike. Yeah, sorry, what was your question?
About the tattoos. Any good stories about how you came up with those?
Yeah, my father, who's here today, Dad, say hi to everybody. This is my dad, Robert Duffy. My dad is a very sort of learned Harvard graduate, and very into literature. He always had us reading when we were kids. It's one of the reasons I kind of got into writing, because I knew so much about it. Because of my father forcing me to read, a separate piece and every other damn book under the sun. And the motto of Harvard University is Veritas, basically truth, or in vino veritas, and wine is truth. And I found equitas, which means justice or equality, and I just thought the ITAS endings were kind of cool. The idea of putting them on their trigger fingers is kind of an obvious, implication there. I wasn't really trying to, be subtle with that one. Truth, boom, justice, boom, you're dead. The cross, they have a cross on their forearms. That's just something, we've seen quite a bit of, and it's an Irish thing, the Celtic knot cross. And then the saint on their necks, which I just thought was kind of cool. I found this image just one day, reading through stuff. I found this hooded saint, and it looked really cool. I thought, wow, what if that was on the brothers' necks? And, when you go do a film, you never think any of this shit that can happen. You go do a film, you can actually make it happen. So we were able to craft the tattoos. Now, in 2, we went a little further with it, and they have back tattoos of the nailed feet of Christ and Christ's head hanging on the cross. And that was just kind of like the next level. But, there's even a point in 2 where they're, doing each other's tattoos. You can tell this is all from them, and it's not like, they went to a tattoo parlor and flipped through a book. I wanted it to be more personal to these guys, So that's the answer to that question. Thank you for coming. Anybody else? All right, great. Let's start signing some stuff.
What do you have on your arm? Because I noticed that.
Oh, yeah, I just,
Is that before, during, or after the movie?
Well after. I kind of jumped on board with jumped on the bandwagon with the fans. If anybody sees our website, there are thousands of kids that have got these tattoos, whole murals of Boondock Saints on their body, the entire prayer on their backs. It's crazy. And I had never seen, every now and then, you see like a John Bon Jovi dude with the Superman tattoo, but like there's kids out there that have, this must be one of the most, tattooed movies of all time for real. Because you can kind of get them anywhere. It's not really like you're branding yourself, A lot of people are like, Veritas, what is that? And, there's a lot of people who don't know about Boondock. You get a Superman tattoo, everybody knows that basically you're a douchebag. It's as strong as Superman, philosophy, but with Boondock, it's like, you can put that anywhere, and it just kind of looks cool, feels cool for you, means something for you, and you don't necessarily, these people that get huge murals and the entire prayer on their back may have a bit of a screw loose, but, you can't help but be flattered when you see something like that, but, see, now I'm remembering stuff. I got this story about this tattoo kid. Me and Flannery are in New York doing Comic-Con, like New York Comic-Con. They got one out here in San Diego every year, they won in New York. We're doing that one, and we're signing autographs for fans. This kid comes up, Comic-Con geek, man. I could tell there was something wrong with him. He goes, I want you to know that I got the entire prayer from your film tattooed on my back. And me and Flannery are like, sweet. We whip out the iPhones and we're like, show us, we'd like to take a picture. He goes, all right. He goes to pull up his shirt and he goes, well, it's written in Klingon.
Oh, crap!
And I was like, that is some double geek crossover I've never heard of, right? And then when I saw it, you could actually kind of tell, that it was the prayer from Boondock. I literally translated it to a made-up language. Yes, sir.
Speaking of prayer, how'd you come up with it?
Another thing, I had my dad's help with that one. There's parts of that prayer are actually biblical, and I found some of it. And I called my dad and said, listen, I'm making up this prayer and stuff. And I kind of let him know what it was about. And together we kind of worked this thing out. It was like 2 pages of 50 lines. And then I started picking stuff that rhymes, right? and boom, there's the prayer. And it all it feels real good, you know, and I stick it in there, and that becomes something totally unintended. I thought, you know, cool shit to say when you're about to grease some scumbag, but fans are like, they memorize it and stuff like that. One of the cool things about being able to do a 3 is we're probably going to expose where the prayer kind of came from, and or a television series. And one of the ideas we have is that each, I mean, there's Irish prayers within families where each generation of the family adds the next line. It's usually picked right from the Bible. Now, the strange thing, which just so happened by shit-ass luck to work out for us, is that those very first 2 lines are from the Bible. You can find them. The third one is not. That was just made up. I think me and Dad screwed around one day and just made that up. So what would be a really cool thing for a 3 or a television series is showing that, you know, great-grandpa added that first line. Because if you look at it, and shepherds we shall be for thee, my Lord, for thee, basically kind of benign. Okay, we will follow the tenets of God. Power hath descended forth from thy hand, that our feet may swiftly carry out thy command. Another sort of commandment from the Bible that you can follow. It is Duce's line, you know. So we shall flow a river forth to thee, and teeming with souls shall it ever be. Boom, suddenly we're off book, and that one's a little ominous, right? The first 2 are things you can believe in, anybody can. That third line, what do you mean flowing a river of souls to God? Now that's where it changes. And that is where Il Duce added his line to the prayer. If we go and do a 3, we're going to expose this, because the brothers add a 4th, which I have always had in my head, which is the perfect ending to it. And to watch that develop and add their line of their generation to that prayer, I think, you know, guys are going to be pulling out their tattoo guns just to finish it off. Anybody else? Great, let's start signing some stuff.
Perfect. Let's give a really big